The space station Arcadia was a bustling, towering structure, floating in the void of space like a gleaming star on a black canvas. It was a place where different species from across the galaxy came together: traders, explorers, diplomats, and engineers. Humans, Girians, Nalians, and even the rarely seen Murics walked side by side, their languages and customs blending into a strange but harmonious mix. Liam was one of the humans who worked on Arcadia. He wasn't important, just another engineer with a knack for fixing things. He spent most of his time repairing malfunctioning systems and keeping the station running smoothly. Yet, despite his quiet life, he had always been fascinated by the other races. He'd read every book he could find about their cultures, their technologies, and their history. The Girians, in particular, had always caught his attention. Their people were known for their intelligence and advanced abilities. They were peaceful, yet mysterious, the natural grace that seemed to flow effortlessly in everything they did. Today was no different. Liam was working on a routine systems check when the doors to the engineering bay slid open, revealing a figure who stood out from the usual crowd of engineers and traders. Ilara, a Girian diplomat, stepped inside. She was tall and slender, with smooth silver skin that shimmered under the station's lights. Her eyes were a deep violet, almost glowing, and her hair was long and white, like the light of distant stars. There was an air of calm around her, a silent confidence that made the whole room seem to pause when she entered. Liam straightened up from the control panel, surprised to see her. He had heard rumors that a Girian delegation was visiting Arcadia to discuss trade agreements, but he didn't expect to meet one of them face to face. Ilara approached him with a slight, polite smile. "Engineer Liam, I presume?" Her voice was soft but firm, like the hum of a well-tuned engine. Liam nodded, feeling a little nervous. "Yes, that's me. How can I help you?" "I'm in need of assistance," she said, her violet eyes scanning the room. "There's a problem with the station's central reactor. It requires an expert's touch." Liam was both flattered and slightly alarmed. The reactor was the heart of the station, and only the most skilled engineers were trusted to work on it. He hadn't expected such an important task to land in his hands today. "I'll take care of it," he said, trying to sound more confident than he felt. As they walked together to the reactor room, Liam couldn't help but notice the way Ilara moved. Graceful, almost as if she were part of the station itself. She didn't walk like the humans. She glided, her every step purposeful and precise. It was something Liam had only ever seen in the most disciplined of Girians. They entered the reactor room, where the hum of machinery filled the air. The reactor was a massive piece of technology, full of glowing energy conduits and complex panels. Liam set to work immediately, pulling out his tools and inspecting the systems. "Ilara, I'm going to need you to step back for a moment," Liam said. "This area is dangerous if you're too close." She nodded without a word, stepping back toward a console in the corner of the room. Liam worked quickly, running diagnostics and fixing the minor malfunctions he found. But as he did, he couldn't help but notice how Ilara watched him. Her gaze steady and calculating. Something about her presence felt different from the others, more intense. But Liam pushed the feeling aside. He had a job to do, and nothing else mattered. As he crouched down to inspect the lower panels, something unusual happened. A sudden surge of energy coursed through the room. The lights flickered, and the machinery hummed louder, as if it was alive. Liam frowned, confused by the strange reaction. He quickly checked the readings on his device. Everything seemed normal, except for the faint, almost imperceptible pulse of energy radiating from the reactor. "That's odd," Liam muttered. He reached for a tool to investigate further, but before he could make a move, he heard a soft sound of voice, almost like a whisper. It was coming from behind him. He turned quickly, and there, standing just a few feet away, was Ilara. But it wasn't just her presence that stood out, it was the way the light around her seemed to bend, as if the very energy in the room had shifted. Her eyes were wide, and she was staring at him not with the usual calm composure, but with an intense, almost otherworldly focus. "Ilara?" Liam asked, his voice thick with confusion. Without a word, Alara stepped forward. Her gaze never left his as she approached, and something in the air between them shifted. It was as though an invisible thread connected them, drawing her closer. Liam didn't know why, but he instinctively reached out, his hand hovering just inches from hers. And then, without thinking, their fingers touched. The moment their skin made contact, everything changed. A surge of energy flooded through the room, and Liam felt it pulse through his body like an electric current. His heart raced, and for a brief, overwhelming second, he felt like he was floating, unanchored by the gravity of the station. Time seemed to slow, and the entire room seemed to blur, as if reality itself was shifting. Then, just as quickly as it had come, the sensation faded. The energy dissipated, and everything returned to normal. The lights stopped flickering, the machines hummed quietly again, and the room seemed still. Liam pulled his hand back, confused and shaken. He looked at Alara, who seemed equally stunned. Her expression had changed from one of calm professionalism to something else, something deeper, as if she too had felt the strange force that had passed between them. What was that? Liam asked, his voice shaky. He couldn't explain what had just happened, but he knew that it wasn't normal. Alara didn't respond immediately. Instead, she took a step back, her eyes scanning the room as if searching for something. Finally, she spoke, her voice low. "I'm not sure," she said slowly, "but I believe something has just awakened." Liam stared at her, unsure of what to say. He had always known that the universe was vast and filled with mysteries. But this was something beyond anything he had ever imagined. As Alara turned to leave the room, she glanced at him once more, her eyes still glowing faintly in the dim light. "Be careful, Liam," she said. This is only the beginning." And with that, she was gone, leaving Liam standing alone in the reactor room. Still trying to process what had just happened, he couldn't shake the feeling that whatever had just passed between them was only the start of something much bigger, force that neither he nor Alara could possibly understand. But one thing was certain: the stars themselves had noticed. Liam couldn't shake the strange feeling that had come over him after his brief touch with Alara as the hours passed. He tried to focus on his work, but the sensation lingered. He felt different, more alive, more aware of everything around him. His senses seemed heightened, like he could hear the faintest hum of machinery even through the walls. His body felt charged, as if an unseen force was running through him. He tried to dismiss the feeling, telling himself it was just a side effect of the strange event in the reactor room. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't ignore the truth. Something had changed. Something deep inside him had shifted. He had never felt this way before. And then, to his shock, it happened again. It started with a simple movement. As Liam walked down a corridor toward the main control room, he brushed past a panel on the wall. The lights flickered, just for a second, but it was enough to make him stop. His heart raced. Was it him? Was the power reacting to him? "Just a coincidence," Liam muttered under his breath. "You're imagining things." But then the floor beneath him hummed faintly. His shoes vibrated. The sensation spread up through his legs, making him dizzy. For a moment, he lost his balance and had to grab the nearest railing to steady himself. "What is happening?" Liam whispered, glancing around the empty hallway. The station was silent, but the air felt charged. As if something was building up, he reached the control room, hoping that working on a regular maintenance task would calm him down. But the moment he sat at his console and tapped the control pad, the strange energy returned. The lights above him flickered once again, and the station's power systems buzzed as though responding to his touch. He tried to ignore it, but his fingers tingled as if the power was coursing through them. The station seemed to come alive, reacting to him, as though it could sense the change in his very being. Suddenly, a voice broke his focus. "Liam." It was Alara. She stood in the doorway, watching him closely. Her expression was serious, her usual calm demeanor replaced by an intensity Liam hadn't seen before. "I need to speak with you," she said. Liam stood up, his mind racing. "What's wrong? Is something happening to the station?" Alara stepped inside and closed the door behind her. Her violet eyes locked onto his, and Liam felt the same pull he had when they first touched. There was something in the way she looked at him, something searching, as if she could see beyond the surface. "There's been a shift," Alara said, her voice low. "In the stars." Liam frowned. "The stars?" Alara nodded, her gaze never leaving him. "Yes, something has changed. I don't fully understand it, but I believe you and I. We've triggered something. A reaction. And the stars are responding." Liam's mind spun. He had no idea what she meant. But he could feel it now, this invisible connection. The way the station seemed to react to his every movement, it was more than just a strange coincidence. "What do you mean, the stars are responding?" he asked, his voice rising with disbelief. "I know this sounds impossible," Alara said. "But the Girians have always believed that certain events in the universe can align cosmic events that are beyond the control of any. I think you've awakened something ancient. Something linked to the heart of the universe." Liam blinked, trying to process her words. "The heart of the universe? What's that?" Alara's expression softened, and she took a deep breath. "The heart of the universe is a source of unimaginable power. It is said to be the core of all life in the galaxy, the very heart of creation itself. Ancient civilizations have written about it, and many believe it was hidden away to keep it from falling into the wrong hands." Liam took a step back. "And you think this power has something to do with me?" "I don't know," Alara admitted. "But I feel it, Liam. I can sense it. Whatever happened when we touched it wasn't just a coincidence. The energy we felt, it's been building. It's been waiting for something. And I believe you are that something." Liam's head spun. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. A human, the center of a cosmic event. He tried to brush it off as madness, but deep down, he knew Alara wasn't the type to speak without reason. There was something more to this, something he couldn't ignore. "But what does this mean?" Liam asked. "Why me?" Alara shook her head. "I don't know, but I've been studying the stars, and they're reacting to you. Every time you move, every time you interact with the station, the energy in the universe shifts." Before Liam could ask more questions, a sudden tremor shook the station. The walls of the control room shuddered, and the lights flickered once more. The faint hum of the reactor systems grew louder, almost deafening. "Something was happening, Liam. We need to get to the observation deck," Alara said urgently. Now, the two of them rushed through the halls of the station, their footsteps echoing in the narrow passageways. The tremors grew stronger, and the air seemed to grow heavier with each step. It was as if the entire station was reacting to an unseen force. When they reached the observation deck, they were greeted by a sight that left them both speechless. The stars had changed. The once calm, predictable patterns of the stars now seemed to pulse and shift, as if they were alive. The constellations appeared to move, their light dimming and brightening in strange rhythmic patterns. It was as if the stars themselves were responding to something they had never seen before. Liam stood frozen, his eyes wide. "What is this? What's happening?" Alara stepped closer to the large viewing window, her expression filled with awe. "This is it. This is the reaction I sensed. The stars are aligning. They're waking up." Liam felt a chill run down his spine. He didn't fully understand what was going on, but he could feel the power around him. He could sense that this was more than just a natural phenomenon. It was something tied to him. "This can't be real," he whispered, shaking his head. "This isn't possible." But as he spoke, a sudden flash of light illuminated the room. A powerful beam shot across the sky, bright and blinding, as if the stars themselves were reaching out. The light focused directly on the station. It was as though the universe itself was acknowledging them, acknowledging him. The energy around Liam intensified. He could feel it in his bones and his very soul. The power was inside him, growing stronger with every passing second. "Alara," Liam breathed, his voice cracking. "What do I do? What's happening to me?" Alara's face was pale, but her eyes were filled with determination. "We don't know yet. But one thing is certain. You have been chosen. and the universe is watching. The energy in the station was unlike anything Liam had ever felt. It was everywhere. The walls hummed with it. The air vibrated with it. It felt like the entire universe was alive, and it was somehow all connected to him. Since that moment, his hand had touched Ilaraz. Things had only grown stranger. Liam couldn't shake the images of the stars pulsing in patterns, aligning in ways that no one had ever seen before. The observation deck had been filled with a light so bright, so powerful that for a moment he'd thought the entire galaxy was watching him. It had only lasted a few seconds, but the impact had shaken him to his core. Ilara had been quiet after the light faded. She had said nothing for a long time, her eyes still fixed on the sky, watching the stars move. Liam had tried to ask her about it, but her only response had been a soft, almost tired, "We have to go." She had led him through the corridors of the station. Her steps hurried, as though time itself was running out. The space station, Arcadia, had always felt like a home to him. But now it felt more like a cage. A place holding secrets too vast and too powerful for anyone to understand. They entered the briefing room, where several Girian diplomats and high-ranking officials were waiting. Their faces were calm, but their eyes betrayed their anxiety. Liam had never seen the Girians act this way before. They were always composed, always in control, but now they looked as if they were waiting for something they feared was inevitable. Ilara stepped to the front of the room, her voice low but steady. "We have a problem," she began. "What we witnessed earlier is not just an event. It is a sign of something far older than we understood, something far more powerful." The room fell silent. Liam stood in the back, still processing everything that had happened, but feeling more confused than ever. He wasn't a scientist. He wasn't a diplomat. He was just a human engineer. How had he become a part of this? How had he awakened something that even the Girians feared? Ilara turned to him, her gaze steady but searching. "Liam," she said, her voice soft yet urgent, "I need to explain something to you. What happened when we touched was no accident. You were not chosen at random. You are connected to something ancient, a power that has existed since the beginning of time." Liam frowned, not fully understanding. "I don't get it." "What do you mean, connected?" "Long ago, before the rise of the civilizations we know, there were beings called the Celestials," Ilara continued, her voice growing more intense. "They were the first race, the ones who shaped the galaxy, who created the stars and the planets. The Celestials were powerful, and they created something called the heart of the universe." Liam's heart skipped a beat. He remembered hearing about the heart of the universe in old legends. But he had always thought it was a myth. The heart is the source of all life, all energy in the galaxy. It is what powers the stars, what gives life to every living being. The Celestials created it and used its power to maintain balance in the universe, Ilara explained, her eyes narrowing as she spoke. But the Celestials disappeared long ago. Their empire fell, and their power was hidden. The heart was locked away, its energy sealed. And now, Liam, you've triggered its awakening. Liam felt a cold shiver run down his spine. "So, this power, the one inside me, it's connected to the heart." Ilara nodded. "Yes, when we touched, something inside you responded to the energy that has always been within you. You have a connection to the heart, Liam, a connection that no one, not even the Girians, fully understands." The room was silent again. The weight of her words hung heavy in the air. Liam felt like the walls were closing in on him. He had always been just a normal guy, living on a space station, fixing engines and wiring. Now, he was part of something far bigger, something that could change the entire galaxy. The stars. "They're reacting to you," Ilara said, her voice almost a whisper. "The constellations are shifting. The energy you've unleashed is spreading, and the universe is starting to notice." Liam looked at her, his mind racing. "But why me? Why not someone else?" "I don't know," Ilara admitted. "But the truth is, your human race was always meant to play a part in this. There are old prophecies that speak of a time when the stars would awaken and a human would be the key." I don't know if you are the one these prophecies speak of, but I do know this. You are not alone in this. Liam's eyes widened. What do you mean? Who else is involved? Before Alara could answer, the doors to the briefing room opened. A tall Xirian diplomat entered, his face serious and tense. He was one of the highest-ranking members of the Xirian Council. His presence made the entire room go quiet. We've received reports, the diplomat said, his voice cold. The heart of the universe is reacting. We can't ignore it any longer. The Celestials are returning. Liam's breath caught in his throat. What do you mean? The Celestials are alive. The diplomat nodded grimly. Not alive. Not in the way you think. The Celestials never died. They exist in a different form, their consciousness scattered across the stars. And now they are awakening. They've sensed the energy and they are coming to claim it. A chill ran through Liam. The stars were alive, watching, reacting to him. And now the Celestials were returning. The very beings who had created the galaxy were coming back to take what they had hidden away so long ago. We need to stop them, Lara said, her voice filled with determination. If the Celestials gain control of the heart, they will rewrite the galaxy in their image. They will remake everything. Liam shook his head, trying to make sense of it all. But I don't know how to stop them. I don't even understand what's happening. You don't have to do it alone, Alara said gently. You have the power to change things. You are connected to the heart, Liam, and if we can figure out how to harness that power, we can stop the Celestials. But we need to act quickly. The room grew quiet as everyone turned to look at Liam. The weight of the galaxy seemed to rest on his shoulders. He had never asked for this, never wanted to be the center of some cosmic battle. But now there was no turning back. The energy inside him was real, and the stars were reacting. Ilara stepped forward, her hand gently resting on his arm. We will figure this out together, she said, her voice calm but resolute. But we need to act fast. Liam nodded, a mixture of fear and determination rising within him. The universe was watching. The stars were waking up, and the fate of everything now rested in his hands. The days that followed felt like a blur to Liam. The stars were still reacting. The strange energy inside him was growing stronger, more vivid with every passing hour. He could feel it in his veins, in his bones. It was as though the universe itself was syncing with him, adjusting its pulse to match his own. He had never felt so connected to the cosmos, and yet the power he felt was overwhelming. They had moved from the Arcadia space station to a nearby world, a desolate planet that had once been home to an ancient civilization. Alara and the Xirian Council believed that the key to stopping the Celestials, the ancient beings who were now awakening, was hidden somewhere on this world. The legend spoke of a place called the Core, where the Celestials had once stored their greatest secrets. It was a dangerous journey, but there was no other option. The universe was shifting, and they had to act before it was too late. Liam was exhausted. The strain of everything happening around him, feeling the energy inside him grow with each passing minute, was starting to take its toll. His mind felt foggy at times, as though he was losing touch with reality. He could feel Alara's eyes on him, her concern clear. But she never asked him about the strange power he was experiencing. She never pushed him to explain. She was waiting for him to understand it on his own, and he appreciated that. They stood now on the edge of a massive cliff, looking down at the ruins of the ancient civilization below. The wind howled around them, stirring the dust and sand that covered the cracked stone roads. In the distance, broken structures reached toward the sky like skeletal remains of a forgotten era. This is it, Alara said, her voice soft but filled with awe. The Celestials were here, Liam. This was their home. Liam couldn't help but feel a shiver run down his spine. There was something eerie about this place. Something about the ruins felt alive, as if the planet itself was holding its breath. Waiting for something to happen, they descended the cliffside. Following a narrow path that led into the heart of the ruins, the buildings were ancient, weathered by time and forgotten by history. Yet, as they walked through the labyrinth of stone, Liam felt the power grow stronger. The air seemed to hum with energy. The ground beneath his feet vibrated with an almost imperceptible rhythm. Ilara, Liam said, his voice shaky. I can feel it. The power? It's like it's pulling me in. I know, Ilara replied, her tone serious. We're getting closer. They reached the center of the ruins, a massive stone platform that seemed to be the heart of the ancient city. At the center of the platform stood a tall obelisk, its surface covered in strange symbols. The obelisk was cracked, as if something had broken it long ago, but it still stood tall and proud, as if guarding a secret. Liam felt a pull toward it, an undeniable force that made his heart race. The energy inside him surged again, more powerful than ever. It was as though the universe was reaching out, guiding him to this spot. Ilara, what is this place? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. This is the core, Ilara said, her eyes wide with wonder. It's where the Celestials stored their most powerful knowledge. It said that whoever can unlock its secrets will have the power to control the heart of the universe. Liam stepped closer to the obelisk, drawn by an invisible force. His hand trembled as he reached out to touch the stone. The moment his fingers made contact, a shock of energy coursed through him. His vision blurred, and for a brief moment, he saw flashes of distant stars, of galaxies swirling in the void, of beings made of light and power. Then, as quickly as it had come, the vision faded. Liam pulled his hand back, gasping for breath. The energy was overwhelming, almost too much to bear. Liam. Ilara's voice was filled with concern as she rushed to his side. What did you see? I saw the stars, Liam whispered, his voice trembling. I saw everything. The universe. It's alive. The Celestials are coming, and they want the heart. Ilara's face tightened with determination. We have to stop them. But this is only the beginning. The Celestials are closer than we thought. Liam nodded, his mind still reeling from the vision. The energy inside him was growing stronger with each passing moment, and he could feel the pull of the heart, its power calling to him from the depths of space. It was both exhilarating and terrifying. We have to find a way to control it, Liam said, his voice firming with resolve. We can't let the Celestials take the heart. I agree, Ilara said. But first, we need to understand what the heart truly is. The Celestials locked it away for a reason. If we can unlock its power without losing ourselves in it, we might have a chance. They both stood there for a moment, looking at the obelisk, the silent guardian of the heart's secrets. Liam could feel the weight of the universe pressing down on him. The stars, the energy, the Celestials, it was all connected to him now. He was no longer just an engineer. He was the key to something much bigger, something that could change the fate of the entire galaxy. We don't have much time, Ilara said, breaking the silence. The Celestials are coming. We need to find the heart before they do. Liam nodded, steeling himself for what lay ahead. He wasn't sure how he would stop the Celestials, or what would happen if he failed. But one thing was certain, he couldn't back down. The fate of the galaxy depended on him, and he would do whatever it took to protect it. They turned to leave the ruins. But as they stepped away from the obelisk, a rumble shook the ground beneath them. The sky above darkened, and a strange low hum filled the air. The stars above seemed to flicker as if they were reacting to something powerful, something ancient. Lara stopped in her tracks, her face pale. It's too late, she whispered. They're here. Liam's heart pounded in his chest as he looked up at the sky. The stars were shifting again, their light growing brighter and brighter, until the whole sky seemed to pulse with energy. It was as if the universe itself was holding its breath, waiting for the next move. Then, from the darkness, a fleet of massive ships appeared, their silhouettes cutting through the starry sky. The ships were unlike anything Liam had ever seen, huge, elegant, and made of a material that seemed to shimmer in the darkness. The Celestials had arrived. Liam turned to Ilara, his eyes filled with fear and determination. It's time. We have to stop them. We have to protect the heart, Ilara nodded. We will, together. The two of them rushed toward the hidden entrance of the ancient structure, their hearts racing. The Celestials were coming, and the final battle for the heart of the universe was about to begin.